Welcome to the Pampered Thoughts podcast, where we are inspiring and encouraging women to love themselves as they are without shame or guilt, focusing on topics such as self-love, marriage and family, balance in life and business, and all things woman. Every week, we'll share inspirational topics that focus on helping you to overcome your struggles and limitations with lack of identity, low self-esteem, self-love, confidence, and so much more. I'm your host, Veronica Scurry, a wife, mom, speaker, entrepreneur, and more importantly, a daughter of the King. Hey, y'all. Welcome to today's episode. I am so glad we are at another week. I hope you all had a grand and pampered week. We're getting ready for the weekend. And you know me, I'm getting ready for Sabbath. I can't wait until Sabbath so I can rest, relax, and enjoy myself. But I'm just so excited for this time. I'm excited for this weekend. I'm just all around happy. I'm just all around joyful, for this is another day that we're able to experience life no matter what you might be going through, no matter what situations you might be going through. We get to experience life. We get to experience being. If you have your loved ones around, your family, your friends, those who care for you, those who you care for, yeah, it's just a good time to be alive, regardless of the chaos that we see each and every day, regardless of the things that we might be going through personally, professionally, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically. We have life. And so that's a blessing. And if you are new to the Pamper Thoughts podcast, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you've been listening in with me every Thursday, y'all already know I appreciate it. I love each and every one of you. And even if this is your first time listening in, I do thank you because you didn't have to take time out of your day to click the button, but you did, and I appreciate it. I'm just thankful today because I know that it's a blessing to just be alive. And I don't know why I keep talking about that, but it is. It's just a blessing to be alive. Each and every day is a new day for us to experience something new. Each and every day is a new day for us to start over, to breathe again. If you need time to just breathe, breathe. Just take a deep breath and breathe. It's going to be okay. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Just know that things will get better. Things can be better when you have a positive outlook. I really don't know why I'm going that way, but I just wanted to encourage you today because today we're actually talking about overcoming offense. And before I actually go into that, I just felt the need to talk about just being thankful for life, just being thankful that you're here, that you're breathing, that you're able to see, to speak, to move, to live life, to be on the side of living, because there are a lot of people who have not made it to their 20th birthday, who have not made it to their 30th birthday. Just be thankful. Just be thankful that we're here. Just be thankful that there's another day that we can get things right if we've messed up along the way, if we've made some mistakes, if you've done some things that you may not be proud of. Just be thankful that you can correct it, you can rectify it. Back to the topic at hand. Today, we're going to be talking about overcoming offense. And I'm finding that in this stage of my life, and as I grow as a woman, as I grow as a wife, as a mom, as a businesswoman, the Father is really revealing me to me. In each stage of my life, there was a time in my life, and you already know, I've explained a little bit of it previously in my first episodes. But there was a time in my life where I just kind of went along just to go along. I wasn't happy with life. I was depressed. I was functioning, but I was depressed. And I wasn't happy with my life. But at that time I was just kind of going along, and it was in a fog. I was in mentally in a state of just letting life pass me by. And so there were some things that I could have learned at that time that I didn't necessarily learn because I wasn't appreciating the season that I was in my life. I am finding that in this stage of my life that the Father is really revealing me to me. I'm actually experiencing what I talk about in real time. So some of the things that I'm going through or that are happening to me, I actually begin to talk to you guys about it. A lot of times I experience what I actually have to talk about because I know that, and I'm a believer that you can't necessarily really teach something that you don't necessarily know. And so I'm finding, I thought that with this podcast, that I was actually going to be able to pre record my episodes, have a month of episodes out there for you guys while I prepare the next month, and really have this thing on lock. However, it's not working out that way. So I'm actually having to record these episodes in real time. So yeah, that hasn't been the case. But and I'm not upset about it. It's just starting to look like the Father is wanting me to talk about what I've experienced with you. Like I said in the beginning, I'm okay with that because I'm here to share my life, my stories, my lessons with you all. Because I know that if I'm growing through it, yes, I said growing, not going. If I'm growing through it, I know that maybe one or a few of you may be growing through it as well. And I know that there are lessons that we have to learn, not about anyone else, but about how we handle what happens around us and how we allow life to affect us, whether that's in a positive manner or a negative manner. Like what you've heard so far? Great. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the show. We're accountable to how we react to certain situations. I won't go into too much detail in this particular episode, but I do want to tell you some of the tips of actually what helped me and what happened. And I found myself actually offended with someone this past week. I didn't necessarily realize the offense had actually grown within me until I began to pray for this particular person. And I felt a strong, overwhelming sense of resentment in my heart when I was praying. And I can't say that it puzzled me, but the feeling was so overwhelming. I knew that it was something that I needed to do in order to get rid of this feeling and in order to handle why I was feeling this way. When I went to bed this particular night, after I had prayed for this person and I felt that feeling of resentment, I had a dream that I was looking for a book about the heart. And I could not for the life of me find this book. I looked everywhere I could, even the person who I felt that resentment towards while I was praying for that person was helping me to find this book because they wanted to read it too. And while we were looking, everybody that was with us was trying to help us look. We were tearing up the shelves, the cabinets. I don't even know where we were, but we were tearing this place up looking for this book. And I was like, I need to find this book. I want to find this book so I can read it. And this book was about the heart. And so when I woke up that next morning after that dream, I realized and I knew that I needed work on this. This was something that was really affecting me. So what I did was I prayed about the situation. I prayed for the person again, and I prayed about my attitude towards everything. And I was able to have a conversation with the person, and it turns out that it was just a lack of communication, and we both just needed really to get an understanding from each other's perspective. So today I really want to talk about overcoming offense because I know a lot of times we can become offended about things that we shouldn't necessarily become offended about. Especially as women, we're very emotional. So we can get in our emotions a lot more than our male counterparts. I wanted to discuss how I'm learning about the overcoming offense and allowing myself to better handle certain situations. And so I wanted to share some of these tips that have helped me in offense and that I feel may also help you as well. And so one of the first tips is do your heart check. This is when a little self evaluation is coming into play because first you want to understand why you're being offended in the first place. Was it something that the person said? Was it how they said it? Was it something that they did? Is it someone who truly cares for you and your well being? Really, does it have any merit or truth to it? One thing that we can look at when we're doing a self evaluation and a heart check, we want to look at the person who actually offended us or what we were actually being offended by. If we know that it's somebody who loves us, who truly has a heart for us, who truly cares about our well being, maybe it wasn't their intention to actually offend us. And so we have to look at our relationship to this person to see why we're being offended. And I like to think about older people because we know older people like your grandma, or you may have that one aunt in your family who has a tendency to say some things with no tact at all, but they say what's on their mind and they'll tell you, girl, look at you, you gaining weight. What's going on? I had one of my aunts tell me one day when my girls were like so much younger, she was like, "Are you eating all the food or the kids eating all the food?" I'm like, "Okay, really, auntie?" You know, but I knew that my aunt wasn't trying to say anything to hurt me or to offend me. She's just one of those aunts that says what's on her mind. Now, yes, sometimes she can say things to offend you, or she can say things that she knows is going to offend you and she don't care. But when you know your situation, or when you know your relationship with the person, you know if they're doing it intentionally, or you know if they're saying something that they're not necessarily intentionally trying to hurt you. I knew she was joking around, and I knew that I had gained weight. So there was some merit and and some truth to what she was saying. It's just the way she said it. She said it in a joking manner. So I understood that she wasn't necessarily trying to offend me. She was joking. But there was also some truth to what she was saying. When we think about being offended, we have to look at the person that we're offended by, or the situation that we're offended about. Is there some truth to it? What are the intentions behind the person? We want to make sure that our heart is in check. Make sure that we're not easily offended, and that there's really, this offense is something that I really need to deal with. Or maybe this person didn't necessarily say it in that type of a way. So you want to look at your heart. Check your heart first. Evaluate why you're offended in the first place. Understand that, and that will help you to kind of gauge the situation before actually becoming offended. Because if you can gauge the situation, the person, or whatever the circumstances may be, you have a better chance of evaluating how you're going to react to that. If you're going to let it go off your shoulders, or if you're going to address the situation at that time. You're better able to evaluate that when you do a heart check first. Sometimes you're better able to make the necessary adjustments if you know that maybe there is some truth to what this person is saying, or maybe this person wasn't necessarily trying to be mean, but they were just didn't know how to do it in a tactful way. So that's the first thing, is doing a heart check, self-evaluating to see why you're getting offended. The next thing is put yourself in that person's shoes. A lot of times when we're offended about something, we don't necessarily put ourselves in the shoes of the person who we actually became offended by. We don't look at, maybe they may have some internal issues of their own that they're dealing with. There's a saying, and I know many of you have heard it, where it says, hurt people hurt people. And that's true. A lot of times you have a hurting person that lashes out, or they may say something that could easily cause you to become offended, or they may say something hurtful because on the inside they're truly hurt. Like, you have bullies. Bullies don't just become bullies to be a bully. They become a bully because maybe they've been bullied, maybe they've been hurt. You have people who just don't like themselves, or they may be dealing with some issues that they see they're going through that somebody else may not necessarily be going through. If you know that you haven't done anything to the person, it could be that the person just maybe had a bad day, or they may not even be considering what they've said that could actually negatively affect you. It could be a single mom who's possibly stressed from dealing with her kids all day. Maybe she needs a break. Maybe she needs to find her me time. And she hasn't been able to because she has kids and she's doing it all on her own. And I highly, highly respect those of you who may be listening to me that are single moms. I'm giving kudos to you because even with me having two kids with my husband, it was a job of being a mom. So I definitely respect those of you who are single moms that are out there raising your kids the best way that you know how. You're raising them up to be positive men and women. I definitely give you respect for that and I give you kudos for that. So it could just be that maybe that mom is stressed. Maybe she just needs some me time. Maybe she might need somebody to keep her kids for an hour or 2 hours out of the day just to take them out, maybe for ice cream or something, so that she can get a break. She may not have known that she offended you. She may not have known that she was kind of curt or sharp in her responses to your questions or whatever the situation may have been. Maybe it could be your husband. He's had a long day at work and he's tired. He's had his boss down his neck. He had coworkers who were stressing him out. And he gets home and he's tired. He's ready to relax. And maybe, yes, he brought some of the attitude home from work, but look at his situation. Put yourself in his shoes. Maybe you've gone to work. Many times when you put yourself in the other person's shoes, it helps you to understand where they're coming from. It helps you to understand why they may have lashed out, why they may have said something that was hurtful. And it causes you to not take on that offense or to take up and become offended by what this person has said, because now you know and you understand that this person may be stressed, this person may be hurt, this person may be going through abuse, whatever it is they're going through that causes them to act the way that they act or say the things that they say. But when you put yourself in their shoes, then you kind of understand and you don't take offense because now you've become compassionate for this person. You don't take it personal. Another thing is that maybe you are offended. The person said it, they meant it, they didn't care that they meant it, and they wanted to hurt you. Now it's time for you to seek sound wisdom. Seek sound wisdom because now you need to deal with it. You've taken on that offense. Your insides is bubbling up when you see the person, when you talk to the person, when you come in contact with the person. Now you're feeling some type of way. Sometimes you may not even want to pray for the person. You may not want any dealings with the person because they offended you. Now it's affecting you and how you live your life. So you want to seek sound wisdom because if you're feeling some type of way about a person or you're not sure how to handle the situation, you want to seek some wisdom from someone you can trust. Now, you're not going to go to any type of person, somebody to gossip to them and say, hey, girl, you know what they did to me? You know what this person said to me? To talk about it in a way where you both start down talking to person or to just to let them know how you were wronged and how you just want to form their opinion about the person because of what was said. But no, you go to that person because you truthfully want to work on yourself. You want to find out how you can better handle the situation. So you're going to go to this person for clarity. You may have one of your best friends or someone who you know that you can talk to, who you can confide in, that can give you wisdom of how to handle the situation. This person has to be someone who you know you can tell your business to, who you can tell your secrets with, and they're not going to tell the world. They're not going to go and say, girl, look what happened here. Let me tell you about what she did with this, and let me tell you about how this happened. No, this person is going to be someone who you can trust. You want to talk to that person to see how to better handle the situation. They've gone through ups and downs. You want to get wisdom from that person. You want to talk to someone who you feel you can trust, someone who you feel will give you sound advice so that you can handle what you're feeling on the inside. It's not about what that person has said or what they have done. It's about how you can better handle the situation so that you get your peace back, so that you get your joy back, so that you find a way to make the situation better. And this person may lead you to talk to the person. That's my next tip. Talk to the person. A lot of times we can become offended by someone something they may have said, something they may have done, and we don't want to go and talk to the person. We want to go talk to everybody else but that person. Even the Bible tells us, before you come and pray, before you come and give your sacrifice, if you have any ought, if you have any offense against your brother or your sister, you go. You put your gift down at the altar. You go back and you fix it. You work this thing out. And a lot of times, especially in this day and age with social media, we want to go to social media and we want to put these shade posts and these subliminal posts about people without actually going to the person and talking to the person, which is going to do nothing but build even more resentment, even more offense, because now that person may look at it and be like, oh, okay, so they want to throw up their subliminal post, which I know they're talking about me. I'm going to go ahead and throw something up. And now you're doing Facebook battles or Instagram battles or whatever it is, which is so foolish to me. But now you're at a place where you're even more offended, losing more of your joy, losing more of your peace, losing more of your sanity, because you're now increased something or made something a whole lot more worse than what it actually could have been had you gone and talked to the person. So if it's at all possible, find a time to talk to the person so you can let them know how they offended you. You and the person can work on a solution together to rectify the situation. Y'all can talk about it. You can get a better understanding of what was said. They can get a better understanding because they may not have even known that they actually offended you. They may not have even known that what they said or what they did caused you some type of injury or hurt. So find a time to talk to the person. That's if you can talk to the person. Now, keep in mind the person you're dealing with, because sometimes you may not be able to necessarily talk to the person. So you want to ask yourself, will this person be receptive to what I have to say? Does this person have a hard time with taking correction or accepting responsibility for their actions? If you know that this is a hard person to talk to and you've seen their dealings with other people, then this might not necessarily be a person that you're going to want to talk to, but it might be a situation where you may need to just pray about it and seek the Father for wisdom and what to do. I can remember a story that my husband told. He was working with this guy who hated him basically for no other reason than to just hate him. And he tried to run my husband over while he was at work with the work van. My husband is one who it takes a lot for him to get angry. A lot. It takes a lot for him to get angry. And my husband came home that morning and he was so upset. He was so angry because this person had tried to run him over. He was offended. He was hurt. He was angry. There were so many things that were going on in his mind where it wasn't anything that I could necessarily say to him, but he had to pray and ask the Father to help him with that offense, to help him with that anger and that unforgiveness, because it was something he wasn't able to just go and talk to the person about because the person didn't like him. Because of that, the Father gave him some instructions of what to do to heal this hurt and to heal this unforgiveness. And at the time, this guy was having a baby with his fiance or his wife, whoever it was at the time. They were getting ready to have a baby shower. Father instructed my husband to buy his baby a couple of outfits and to get him a card. So we went shopping. We got a couple of outfits for the baby. We got it and put it in a nice little baby shower bag with the card and everything. And when my husband took that baby shower bag to this person and told him, here, this is for your baby, the guy hugged my husband and broke down crying. Now, this guy did not like my husband. He hated my husband for whatever reason. But this caused this guy who had just tried to run over my husband to hug him and to cry and tell him thank you. And the very colors that we got him, which were yellow and green, were the very colors that they were using to actually put the baby's room together. And he was so thankful, and that caused him to begin to like my husband. Now, that was a situation where the father had to intervene because there was no way he was going to be able to talk to this man had he not prayed about it, had he not sought the Father in what to do. And I bring this story up to let you know that there may be some people or some type of offense that you may have had where it's going to take divine intervention for you to rectify the situation. It may just be something simple as buying the person a card. Whatever those instructions are that the Father gives to you, follow those instructions. It will allow you to be healed from that anger, from that resentment out of your heart so that you can better live with joy, so you can live with peace, so you can walk and be okay. So, another tip is setting boundaries. If the person you're easily offended with is someone who you can't necessarily separate yourself from, or is someone who you can't necessarily talk to, it's time for you to start setting boundaries. You may not have to tell the person, but you quietly put the boundaries in place until they actually get the picture. And what I mean by setting the boundaries and not necessarily having to tell the person. Now, some people you can possibly tell them. If you know that you don't like to have phone calls before 7 o'clock in the morning, and somebody keeps calling you before 7 o'clock in the morning, that's a boundary that you can set. Just don't answer the phone at 7 o'clock in the morning. And that's just a simple a simple example, but that's just something that I'm saying. That will let the person know that, hey, I'm not going to answer your calls in the morning. So you need to call me at a decent time during the day if that's an offense to you. If you have someone who you've set boundaries in place within your relationship with this person and they just ignore them, then you just let them know, listen, I love you, I respect you, whatever. Knowing, like I said, the relationship that you have, if you can talk to this person, if you can't set boundaries, or if this person keeps overstepping your boundaries, it may just be time to separate yourself. There's going to be times when you need to remove yourself from people because it's not healthy for you. If you're always being offended by something that they say or something that they do, if it's someone who you call a friend or someone who you look at as a person that you respect, but they don't give you the same respect, they don't show you the same friendship, or they don't show you the same loyalty, but they're always offending you, or there's something that's always going on, some type of toxic activity, you need to separate yourself. It's time for you to separate. It's not always easy, but sometimes it's necessary. It doesn't mean that you love the person any less. It doesn't mean that you don't care for the person. It just means that you need to protect your boundaries. You need to protect yourself. You just need to protect your peace of mind. You need to protect your joy. You need to protect your sanity. And you just may have to separate yourself. When you separate yourself from things and people that may be a toxic situation, you haven't been able to necessarily talk to the person, you haven't been able to necessarily set boundaries, you haven't been able to really handle that person, or you're just easily offended by that person and what they do and what they say, it's time for you to let go of the toxic situation. You do that in whatever way is fit for you. If you have to unfollow some people on social media, unfriend some people on social media, whatever that is, then you have to do it. It may be friends, it may be family, but you have to see what's best for you, which is another thing. Pray and ask the Father how to handle this situation, because sometimes it takes divine intervention in order for us to handle certain things. Because one thing about it that we have to remember is that this warfare that we're in is not physical, it's a spiritual warfare. Sometimes things take place spiritually that are affecting the person naturally, and you have to be discerning. You have to understand what's natural and what's spiritual, and that requires divine intervention, praying, asking the Most High, how do I handle what's going on so that my heart will be pure, so that my prayers will be pure, so that my life will be what I need it to be, so that I can walk in joy, so that I can walk in peace, so that I can have focus, clarity. Because when you're walking around with offense, you're walking around with a grudge. You're walking around angry and bitter. And this person probably doesn't even know. They're still sleeping good at night. They're still enjoying life. They're still doing what they're going to do. But you're walking around mad and offended because you haven't handled what's happened. And because of that, now you are all tore up on the inside. When you're walking around with offense and with a grudge, you're walking around with a sickness. It spreads like cancer. Anger spreads like cancer. Anger becomes hate. It becomes bitterness. You don't want to live your life like that. So when we're talking about overcoming offenses, we first want to do that heart check, and we want to make sure that we're not just being offended because of a misunderstanding or because of some miscommunication. We want to find out if there's something or a reason that this person may have said or done what they said and make the necessary adjustments. You're going to pray about it, but you also, there's some things in the natural that you have to do as well. And that's that seeking sound wisdom, asking someone you can trust, who you feel that would give you wisdom to help you to navigate what it is you need to navigate in these waters of offense. That would give you clarity to help you focus when you have the conversation with the person. If you choose to have a conversation, you don't want to hold it in, because the more you hold it in, it's going to just eat at you. It's going to make you sick, and it's not going to be good for you. If you can't talk to the person, or if you can talk to the person, go and talk to them. Let them know how things offended you. Let them hear your side, and you give your perspective on what was said or what was done, and then listen to them and put yourself in their shoes and understand what it is they may have been going through, and it'll be better for both of you. And if you can't talk to the person, just set your boundaries or either separate yourself. Whatever way is going to work for you, whatever way is going to help you to feel better on the inside, do that. Like for my particular instance that happened to me, I feel so much better because I was able to talk to that person. I was able to relay my thoughts, my feelings, and they were able to tell me their thoughts, their feelings, and we were able to communicate. We were able to get a better understanding and put ourselves in each other's shoes, which helped both of us to feel better. And when you can pray with that person, that makes it even more better, because then the Father covers it. And so I hope that these tips encouraged you. I hope that they help you. I hope that if you're dealing with offense in any particular situation, I hope that you may use some of these tips, and I hope that they work for you, because they have helped me a great deal. And that's what I'm finding, is that the Father is allowing me to experience some things in real time so that I can share with you guys. And so until next time, stay pampered. Thanks for joining us this week on the Pampered Thoughts podcast. Be sure to visit us at www.pamperedthoughts.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or RSS, so you'll never miss a show. You can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Pampered Thoughts, and on Twitter at I Am Pampered. As always, subscribe to the show to catch a new episode every week. And if you found value in the show, please leave a rating on iTunes and tell a friend about us. We want to continue to bring you the episodes you love. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, stay pampered.